It's your girl, Cece.
And your boy, PC.
Baby, what we talking about? What we talking about today?
Y'all, it's your boy, PC, back with another video. Well, guys, last time we talked a little about investing. And today we're going to be talking about, one of my favorite parts of investing, which is real estate. By popular demand, many people have asked questions about real estate and different forms of investing, how it works. And Cece and I sought to find a professional, and luckily we have a professional in our network, a real estate broker, not agent, but she was an agent and is now a real estate broker. So she has a vast experience and knowledge in the real estate field. And she's here to share with you today and share with us today in our journey to own, buy properties, flip properties, wholesale properties, and the many different avenues there is to deal with in real estate. She's a great hustler. She has her hands in so many things. If it's food, if it's this, is that, a true serial entrepreneur. And I'm proud to call her a friend, Pamela Ortiz. Hey, Pam.
Hey there, Paul. Okay, so as Paul said, my name is Pamela Ortiz, and I see myself not only as a friend, but a family member. His mom is one of my best friends. 20 years ago, I moved to Orlando, Florida via my husband at the time was a recruiter for the United States Army. I myself am a 9-year honorably discharged Army veteran. We came to Orlando, purchased a home, and through that process, I said, I can do this. So I got my real estate license, and 4 years later, I became a broker. So I've been a real estate broker for 16 years. I love buying property, looking at property, selling property, and I'll do my best today to give you my insight on what it takes to purchase a home.
Nice. This is exciting because it's something that I have a love too. Just looking at properties and looking at, trying to find a deal,
right.
Looking where you can make some money or find a place for you to stay at. So one thing I do want you to just say a little bit on is what you just said as far as being a real estate agent and then being a real estate broker. What's the difference between the two?
Okay, the difference from real estate agent, as far as it means you're a salesperson. So as long as you have only your salesperson's license, you always have to be under the guidance or employment of a real estate broker. You can never own your own business per se as a sales associate. Once you become a real estate broker, you can work by yourself. You can open a company, hire agents, the whole gamut of things.
Okay. So it's just a lot more you can do with being a real estate broker.
Correct.
And other agents can be up under work for you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's very interesting. So today I'm going to ask you some questions so you can clarify on us, like the process of buying a home, the different types of financing, and the different things that go along with purchasing a home, the closing costs, realtors' fees, just to give the people, give us a good idea of the things that we're going to come up against as we, venture into buying a home. So, so just start off by giving us the beginning, the steps approach as far as purchasing a home.
Okay. So what I like to say is you're either a buyer, seller, investor, or renter. So today I'll give you more details about how to become a home owner. And the home buying process begins with a buyer being pre-qualified. And pre-qualification is pretty much based on your income and your debt. Because your debt to income ratio, that's what they call it, can't be too high. So that's the first step. Once you get pre-qualified, then
you say it can't be too high. What's too high?
Well, you can't have more debt than your income allows for, and so that's where a mortgage broker is pretty. The programs that they're looking for have different debt to income ratios, but usually it's around 21%.
21 and 33 is too high, basically.
Exactly.
So basically, I will be taking my monthly income and putting over of whatever I'm paying out.
Exactly.
So they want to know that whatever that I have enough to cover costs and stuff.
Exactly. And one thing a lot of people don't know that really can change, is a game changer for some people that want to buy, is student loan debt. So student loan debt can make a big difference in whether a person can buy or not buy if they have a high student loan payment. So that's something you want to keep in control. If you have a problem with student loan debt, you could always reach out to myself or CC and Paul, and I can set you up with someone who could help you there.
Okay.
Now, once you get pre-qualified, you're going to either get one of 5 loans. There's a VA loan, and that's for veterans or active duty military. You have FHA loans, which are, you could have a score as low as 500.
Wow.
However, you would have to be putting 10% down. Typically, a FHA buyer is in the 580 or above, and it's 3.5% down. Then you have your conventional loan buyers, which typically is 5%. Now, if you're a conventional loan can also serve as an investor. Okay. Usually investors are putting anywhere from 10 to 20% down. It's just particular on how your mortgage broker is handling getting your loan.
Oh, that's an interesting point that you make right there. So you're saying that depending on my mortgage broker, I can get a better loan, or what do you mean by that?
Well, the mortgage broker is pretty much brokering. He's going to many, how can I say this? Many different
creditors, or
banks, or lenders to get you the best deal. Whereas if you go to your, just say you have you bank at Wells Fargo is just going to go with inside themselves to find you a loan. Whereas a mortgage broker, he has a high network of different lenders.
And how does the mortgage broker run your credit one time and then the other establishments run your credit, or?
Well, I believe a good mortgage broker will probably run your, well, first of all, I'll say a good mortgage broker is going to ask you to pull your own credit first, because a lot of consumers don't know you can get a free credit report once a year.
Right.
And so you can find out what your credit scores are, what's on your credit, what you need to fix, and all this. Now, if a mortgage broker pulls your loan, your credit, he's probably only going to pull it one time, and then again, possibly before you close, to make sure nothing has changed, because some people will start a loan process and then they go out there and buy a car, buy a boat, and once you start messing with your credit, it could take it up or down. So if you decide to purchase a house, you don't need to be getting into any additional credit without asking your mortgage broker. You don't even need to close a credit card without talking to your mortgage broker, because even closing credit plays a part on your credit score.
Right.
So, and then the other type of loan is a USDA. That's a well-kept secret. And those buyers are moderate to low income, and they're purchasing in rural areas. And you will find those homes on a map that's provided by the Department of Agriculture.
Right. And those, you say the down payments on the USDA loans will be?
Those are no money down loans also, zero down. And the only other competitor for that loan is a VA loan, no money down. But of course, with the VA, you have to be a veteran or active duty, whereas USDA is you, me, or anybody else if moderate to low income, but you do have to be usually purchasing in a rural area on a map that's provided by the Department of Agriculture.
Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. Well, where do we at? Like, if I was interested in looking for USDA loans, where would I find this information?
It's a mortgage broker or a realtor can pretty much, if you say, hey, I'm interested in a USDA loan, then we just need to find out what area you're looking in, zip code, and see what properties are out there.
Okay. And a conventional loan, the down payment can be as low as 3.5%?
Well, conventional loans are about how much you put down. So it's 5%. Pretty much it's going to start at 5%. Okay. Usually the person has money saved and has pretty good credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've gone through the financing part. So what's next?
Well, there's other types of loans also. You could be getting a home equity loan. A home equity loan is based on what the value of your property, and it's kind of like collateral for your loan. So the value of your property is going to determine how much a lender will lend you versus refinancing. A refinancer is tapping into the equity of their loan to pull money out of the equity. So just say if I have, just say this property, my property I live in is worth $400,000. It has $10,000 in equity. So I could refinance to get a lower interest rate. And at the time of refinance, I want to take some of my equity out. That would be the time.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about refinance, especially like on a year-to-year basis when your property may appreciate in value. A lot of people will go to refinance in order to take that value out and and use that for whatever purposes they have. But there's closing costs involved in refinance.
Oh, absolutely. So some of your closing costs would be your taxes, your insurance, anything that the lender asks you for as far as closing costs, because to get a loan there are fees involved. Those are the main parts. Like 3.5%, those are your down payment. 5%, that's your down payment. But the closing costs, like taxes, taxes work like this. The homeowner that you possibly would be buying from, they pay taxes up until the day prior to closing. Once you go into your closing, then you pay the taxes from the day of to the next tax bill comes out. Also with insurance, they might require you to pay 3 to 6 months of insurance up front. It just depends on the lender and what they're asking you for.
Okay.
But there's so many things involved with purchasing a home. You have to get a survey done. You have to get a home inspection. I wouldn't even advise a person building a home to go without getting a home inspection these days, because builders depend on contractors. Every contractor is not the same. So home inspection.
Is home inspection and appraisal the same thing?
No, home inspection is where you, the homeowner, go in to see things that might need repairing with the property, or hidden things that a home inspector will go in, and there might be moisture in the walls, and he has devices to bring those things to the forefront. Okay. Mold, that's a big one too. A property could have mold and the seller may not, but they could know. But a home inspector would be able to say, hey, I think you might have some mold issues, and then you would have to go get that particular professional for mold to really come in and do an assessment of that. What else? We have in every type of loan, like a VA loan, they're going to have someone come out and do a VA inspection. FHA, they have, when they do the appraisal portion, those people generally are doing an inspection also. Not as deep as the one you paid for, but they take note of the property as well.
And so okay, they used to have things called asbestos and stuff like that. So these are the things that the home inspectors would be able to pick up on if they were still around and stuff like that.
Well, if a property was built before 1978, that's where you had the big issues on
Asbestos.
Investo. I think that's not the right verbiage, but
Yeah, we got you, asbestos.
asbestos. And so if a property is built prior to 1978, there's a form out there that you have to sign for lead paint. And you have, as a buyer, you have to acknowledge that you were told it was built before 1978, and you have the right to get certain inspections done. And all four individuals have to sign off on that document: the listing agent, the buyer's agent, the buyer, and the seller, to acknowledge that, hey, this property was built before 1978, and it either has some lead paint issues, or you have to sign off acknowledging that you want to get an inspection.
Okay, that sounds like something important to do. Y'all listen to her now. Get your home inspected before you go ahead and make that purchase.
Absolutely, because some things, like if I was buying a home that was already furnished, the seller hasn't departed yet, it's not vacant, their furniture could be hiding things, and it might look great, but the home inspector can come in and he can move furniture, as long as once he does his home inspection, he puts back things the way they were before he came.
And so if I was going into this process of purchasing this home, would I ask you for appraised price? I know we're going to find out the comparables or the comparable resales in the market, but what about the appraisal?
Well, how that works, if you decide, once we start looking and we come to the point that we find a property, I don't do the appraisal, but I do a comparative market analysis before we make the offer. And after we get into contract, the bank is going to be the ones to hire the appraiser to go out and do the appraisal. It used to be realtors ordered the appraisal, but when the market crashed in 2008, realtors can no longer order the appraisal. It's strictly the bank and the mortgage broker. And even the mortgage broker doesn't order it, the bank orders it.
The bank orders it, okay.
Because you have to think, you're the buyer, but the bank is really the owner of your property until you pay it off. And they don't want you purchasing something that is undervalued. So
basically, once we get to that point and to the closing costs, closing costs are negotiable, right?
No, closing costs are closing costs. That's what they are. A buyer has their closing costs, a seller has their closing costs. Seller's closing costs are definitely lower. They're paying the taxes on the transfer, the deed transfer, and the state taxes. Everybody gets a little piece of the pie when you buy and sell a property. You pay your taxes to purchase. The seller pays their taxes to let it go. Pretty much what it boils down to.
Okay. And what about the buyers and seller agents fee?
Okay, usually a realtor is going to be using the MLS, and they've already negotiated with the seller how much they're paying for a commission. So usually the seller is the one that pays the buyer's closing costs and the commission on that portion. Now, if you have a buyer's agency, which means you go into contract with a buyer's agent, and at that point you negotiate, you're going to pay the fee. And just say if a listing agent has indicated that their seller's going to pay 2%, a buyer's agent might say, well, if they're not paying the 3%, then we might go into contract for 1%.
Nice.
But there's no set, I would say there's no set fee for a good agent. So if I'm your buyer's agent and I go out there and I see what my commission would be that the seller's paying, a good agent is going to be happy with what the seller's paying, because it's never about the commission. It's about the buyer and the seller.
Nice, nice. That's a woman of integrity right there. Now, I'm sure all agents don't think like that, but I'm happy to know you and to know that there are agents that are really looking out for the buyer and seller. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Moving forward, wanted to ask you a little bit about these things called short sales. Somebody asked about a short sale. You don't have to go into a long example of it, but just give us a little bit what you know about what a short sale is.
Okay, a short sale is typically a property that is under distress, which means the seller, for whatever reason, can't keep up with their mortgage payments, have gotten behind. They don't want it to go into a foreclosure, so they're trying to get it off their hands pretty quick.
Okay. So they basically ask the lender or the banker to allow them to, to sell it for less than what it's worth.
Exactly.
In order to pay off their debt and not to go into foreclosure.
Exactly, and buyers need to keep in mind, just because it says short sale doesn't mean cheaper or lesser. It means that you can put in your offer, but the bank can come back and say, no, this is what we're willing to take, because ultimately the bank is the owner and they want their money. So they may be willing to take less, but you would never know without putting in an offer.
Yes, that's what I love about real estate, putting in that offer and negotiating the price. So yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I think we have one more question. And it's about wholesaling. It's very popular now on Instagram and the different, everywhere you hear about people doing wholesale. Fan Merrill and all these people, different real estate people are talking about wholesaling. So can you just give us a little of your thoughts on wholesaling?
Okay, my mindset about wholesaling is pretty much investors. They're looking for a good deal, and it just depends on who you're working with. A lot of times wholesalers may not have an agent. They're doing it themselves. But a good wholesaler is finding that investor the property they're looking for. It might need some work and it might not need any work. It just depends on what the intent of the investor is. Some want to buy and flip. Some want properties that they don't need to do any work. They just want to get a tenant in there and make some passive or residual income. So that's what wholesale is about, in my opinion. You might have agents that might differ, but
right.
I've worked with a couple of investors. One of my investors, she does a little work, she turns around, she has a time frame that she wants to be out of it, and that's what we've done.
Exciting.
Get in, get out, but that's not, every client is different when it comes to purchasing.
Right. Well, Miss Pam, I just want to say thank you and just let you know all the gratitude that I have for you coming to share with us, and not only things you're sharing now, but the things that you always share with us on financial literacy and knowing what's going on in the markets, talking to us about insurance and all that there. And of course, Team CC and Team Paulie out there, I'm sure they appreciate the knowledge and information too. And because this is what we're all about, trying to share information, growing and developing ourselves. And what you've been able to come down here and share today is a wealth of knowledge and information, and we thank you for that. So, in closing, do you have any remarks or anything you would like to leave with us?
Well, I would like to say in closing that purchasing a home all comes down to financial literacy, because without knowing how you are financially, or even knowing how your finances can assist you in purchasing a home, you're pretty much in the dark. But I can help you with financial literacy. I can help you with home ownership. I run a small boutique, and I really see myself more as a mentor to helping people purchase, sell, invest, and become financially literate. My company name is Elite Performance Realty. You can reach out to me at realtorpamelaortiz@gmail.com. And of course, my cell phone number is 407-953-0214. And I hope that I can meet the needs of somebody looking.
Hey y'all, remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank y'all. One love.